So we need to have the right people in the right positions for us to win. Yes.
But of course, I'm sure you are rooting for certain people. You mind sharing with us, at least national chairman, for instance, who are you rooting for?
I'm rooting for the competent one. You see, as somebody else, we are all the same family. I can't pick one over the other. Of course, I mean, I know who I'm going to vote for, but I think it needs to be left internally. Let's pick the right person, and then it's for the party. The party is supreme, so it's not about individual feelings at all.
But speaking to certain delegates, it looks like have some informed choices, and it boils down to your late brother, for instance. They raised that they would want to pick people who are Atta Mills and not want to pick people. It looks like there's still that kind of issue with Atta Millses, the Rawlingses, and all that. What for you, when you hear some of these things, what goes through your mind? We're grateful, sir. Thank you so much. You heard there the MP for Commander Edina Egwafu Ebrim, Samuel Atta Mills there, telling us what his expectations are here at the National Delegates Congress. Of course, we'll still be interacting with some more, of course, the candidates. You've just seen that the former President Jerry John Rawlings has just arrived, even though he will not say a word or two. But definitely, we'll get to speak to them to know what it is that they are thinking at this point. Okay, so we've just heard the sirens also coming. Of course, I'm sure it's another delegates coming. We've just seen the former president. So who would it be as we just hear the sirens blaring? Who would it be? Is it the former president, John Dramani Mahama? Who would it be? We'll get to know shortly as he arrives. We'll definitely get to know. And we're waiting for the grand arrival. Who would it be? It looks like it's the former president, John Dramani Mahama, and he's just arrived as well. And we'll definitely see if we can get a word or two also from him. And he's just arriving. That's the former president, John Dramani Mahama. Of course, he's hoping to lead the party again.
You're watching and listening to our continuous coverage of the 9th NDC Delegates Congress, which is happening at the Trade Fair site. You heard the MFA Apau reporting a bit earlier on the arrival of delegates and special dignitaries. Of course, we've heard speeches being made today. One given by former President John Dramani Mahama of what he said, saying that the journey back to the Flagstaff House has begun, noting also the absence of former Vice President Emisa Atta and former President John Atta Mills. And the former president also indicating that developments in roads, education, health, electricity all have been stalled. He touched on the banking crisis and he said it's created panic leading to job losses. Talked about government's borrowing also and the swelling stench, as he put it, of corruption around the NPP administration. Also talking about the special prosecutor being starved of funds and that the true test is holding your own people accountable, a test which he said the President Akufo-Addo has failed. In that statement, of course, the former President John Dramani Mahama also talking about how President Akufo-Addo has cleared his ministers and appointees. He peddled falsehood at a recent panel. He's indicated that all allegations were cleared by independent investigation bodies. Hierarchy of nepotism, insensitivity in high taxes, fuel insecurity, national debts, all contained in that speech delivered by former President John Dramani Mahama. And on the bit about the president not responding to aspirant, he said, we're citizens, not spectators. We amplify the voices of citizens. Eventually, they will demand the response. In conclusion, he said Ghana is at the crossroads and so is the NDC, and that the NDC must reach out with alternative policy details. Fights corruption since 1992 demonstrated our resolve in terms of the party, policy dialogues and conferences to discuss stalls with labor, student, employers, farmers, businesses, etc. We've also heard from General Secretary of the party who wants to be General Secretary again, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, General Mosquito, a bit of what he had to say, but also we heard some solidarity messages. I'll pick one delivered by the NPP, Nana Obri Boahen delivering that message, asked for cooperation for the best for Ghana touched on the rising bitterness and character assassination, intemperate language in the media, and he said that will poison the political atmosphere and it will run down Ghana's reputation and also scares off people from governance, calling for decency, tolerance, and restoration of confidence and trust in politicians. And then he also ended with the need for credible opposition, not one that criticizes everything, but one that gives credits when it is due. It is still our continuous coverage of the NDC's delegate conference. Part one of the Congress is done. We're on to the second bit, the final, which is the election process. In all, 65 aspirants are contesting for various national positions. About 15,000 people made up of 9,350 delegates and 5,650 observers are at the venue. And we had there the General Secretary saying that this is the first time that they're having a gathering like this, and it obviously will bring some challenges. We've seen how security personnel at the venue have been struggling to keep the people under control. We've also seen, if you're watching on television, how people have been fanning themselves in the Fantasy Dome at the Trade Fair site. You're watching Joy News. We're also live on radio on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll bring you some speeches delivered a bit early today.
News. We're coming to you live from the
all delegates. Today, let's close the book on the bleeding wounds of 2016. Let us all resolve and commit ourselves to be guided by the lessons of the consequential defeat of 2016 and march forward in unity. I therefore couldn't agree with the team, together we win. Unity in unity together, victory 2020. The NDC must lead the shining promise of tomorrow. To do so, we cannot continue to turn our back to lamentations of 2016 and periods beyond. The future is ours. Let's be guided by the past, and let the past guide us to govern well and govern differently, given the opportunity as a political party. Chairman and distinguished delegates, I am happy to note that thanks to you and the grassroots of our party, we have 106 representatives in Parliament who are ably represented here. Of them, we have 13 female members of Parliament. I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the leadership of the party to preserve and protect the seats of the female MPs and to work to increase the number of women MPs in Parliament on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. For they understand some of the issues that affect population and nutrition and can serve us all. Chairman and distinguished delegates, we have in the last 22 months at least assisted President Nana Addo Dankwa to compose in history. He has beaten the Guinness Book of Records, the largest size of government and an elephant size of government of 110 ministers. That certainly cannot be a reduction on the public purse. We have assisted the President as Parliament and as members of Parliament to pass very important legislations, namely the development authorities of Northern Development, Coastal Development and Middle Development. Sad and regrettably, these development authorities are now being run from the Flagstaff House and denied resources to contribute to the development of those areas. They have only become bureaucratic creations of the Nana Akufo-Addo government. Chairman and distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we also, as a parliament, have supported the president as we should do in establishing the office of special prosecutor. To quote the president, he says it's a novelty and a watershed. Let me remind President Nana Addo Dankwa that under President Rawlings in the 1980s, there was office of the special prosecutor and there was Justice Amani Money and others appointed to it. We may want to improve upon it and assure him of our common quest to combat corruption, to fight economic graft in our country, and to expose it. When he gives a stick to us, he should not give a broom to ruling members of his party. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are as a party not at crossroads. I am very certain and optimistic of the future prospects of our party, and I'm very optimistic that we will constitute government January 2021. What we need to do is to work together in unity to heal the wounds of the past and the rule and the biblical saying that love your neighbor like thyself. Do not injure your neighbor. No member of the NDC should be happy causing any injury to your neighbor, a member of our great party. We have done our utmost best. And Mr. Chairman, let me now conclude. Since this is a national platform, I'll respond to just two policy issues. A few days ago, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, supported by Ken Ofori-Atta, sought to define social intervention. Those of you who have phones in your hand, you can Google Wikipedia definition of social intervention. And to quote the Minister of Finance, he says that NDC has no social intervention. Yet, we contributed to quality education in the country, we contributed to healthcare delivery, and we contributed to reducing infant and child mortality. Indeed, in 2015, Ghana, under President Mahama, was awarded by the UN for having poverty. Yet, a party and a government which have poverty did not contribute any way to the social intervention of our country. Maybe Dr. Bawumia and Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta must go to the Thesaurus Dictionary to look for a new, different definition of social intervention. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I can only wish our aspirants very, very well. And to assure you that when you build a house with saliva, the house collapses with dew. The NPP house will collapse.
And that's Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader, speaking on behalf of the Minority Caucus in Parliament at this Delegates Conference. We go back live to the Trade Fair side to join my colleague Elton Brobe, who has with him a former Central Regional Chairman of the NDC, Alote Jacobs.
This is our coverage of the NDC's 9th National Delegates Congress. And this program, the first part just ended. The party a while ago went through some of the proposed amendments that have been tabled for consideration of Congress. Remember, Congress is the highest decision-making body, so it's the only Congress that can amend the constitution of the party based on proposals put before it by members. So a while ago, Mr. Ken Jasa, a former Second Deputy Speaker of Parliament, the national organizer of the party, Kofi Adams, took members through some of the proposed amendments, and they came to a conclusion on some of these amendments. The amendments will be factored into the party's constitution and will be binding in the next Congress of the party. Mr. Alote Jacobs is a former Central Regional Chairman of the party, a very vocal voice on radio as far as NDC matters are concerned, and he joins us here on our set. Alote, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So first, let's talk about some of the proposed amendments before we get to some of the candidates and what the party can do to win the 2020 elections. Are you aware? What are some of the proposed amendments that were up for discussion?
The most standing out one is about the appointments of communicators from branch, constituency, region, and then national. That stands out among the whole of the amendments that was presented, and that has been approved just some minutes ago. The other has to do with former.
So what does it mean? So now what, you're going to be appointing communicators?
Well, I don't know whether there was a resistance, because I saw on many of the NDC platforms people opposing to that amendment. that appointment for communicators will be done by the party from the branch to the national level.
Okay.
And there was misgiving about it. So I don't know what is going on.
Outcome.
I left the room, and I'm not a voter.
Of course. So what we'll do is that we'll wait and get the final resolution of Congress.
Yes.
As far as some of these amendments are concerned. Apart from that, what are some of
the other
proposals?
concerns me, being a former regional chairman. You know, we were excluded from voting, and we also appealed to the National Executive Committee, which is the highest decision, second highest decision-making body, that there is the need for us also to be included, all former NEC members, that is the regional chairmen, secretaries, organizers, youth and women organizers, should also be included in any future voting. And that is precisely what has been done.
For the, I don't know whether somebody tabled this, but for the MPP, you remember that some of their deputy positions are appointed. I don't know whether the NDC in the future.
Yeah, I think that it's a way of doing same thing, because in our constitution, for the purposes of having regional balances, the decision was taken at our last Congress that instead of electing 6 national vice chairmen, we will elect 3, and 3 will be appointed in order to fit into the regional balance.
All right. Now, that is for Congress to decide.
Yeah, that is what has been decided.
Okay.
But currently, what decision that has been taken here now is that all former regional chairmen, secretary, organizers, youth and women organizers, in our subsequent elections, they will be partaking in those elections. They have the right to vote.
So now you don't have a voting right?
No, I don't have. All the noise I'm making, I don't have the voting right.
So, okay. Now, let's go into the candidates themselves. I mean, you've made it clear about your opposition to Asiedu Nketia being re-elected as the general secretary of the party. I don't know whether that has changed.
It doesn't change. But then, it's possible Asiedu may win the elections.
You're giving up already on your candidates?
No, I'm not giving up. Look, as for elections, Maza, it has its own dynamics. Whoever you think that he will win will lose. Whoever you think that he will lose will win. And like the proverbial saying by Sir John, through delegates, so Adakanumu Yesu. You see, you might not know. It's so dynamic, very, very unrevealing. And people will not tell you whom they are going to vote for. But when you come outside, you see these people shouting, oh, I'm for this, I'm for that. But then when they get into the voting room, it's quite different. I'm not, giving up on my candidate. But I'm saying Asiedu Nketia is likely to win the elections. But at least I've made a point.
Right.
And I'm sure, should Asiedu Nketia win the elections, his attitude and character towards leadership will change.
Asiedu Nketia is a very experienced man.
I'm more experienced than even Asiedu Nketia.
Matured in age. And you think that despite all this, he's so
older
arrogant
than him. Look, I started my politics in 1969. So sometimes when I speak on authority, on experience, what has happened in this country. I've seen governments coming and governments going. I've seen political party collapsing and splinter groups coming out of it. So when you see it coming, then you know it is doing. That is why I went on Asiedu Nketia's neck. That is attitude. But I'm sure he will learn lessons out of it. But this is the first time you see Asiedu Nketia having posters, having t-shirts, going rounds.
But the point remains that in your own estimation, if Mr. Asiedu Nketia is re-elected, it may pose a challenge for the party in their determination to win the 2020
And that is
elections.
why, you see, if he doesn't change that character, I don't think it will go well for us.
Which character are you talking about?
I have said it several times. Right now, we are on election grounds. I don't need to repeat these things. I'm okay with it. Today is an election day. There's no need to do an endorsement or for people to think that you are trying to run somebody down. No. decisions has already been taken. Those who will vote for whoever, they have taken their decisions.
Is this personal?
It is not personal. It is not personal. It is trying to heal.
Because I see a lot of anger when it comes to you talking about Mr. Johnson.
No. I'm so close and fine. I'm free with Asiedu. No, don't think that I have a personal hatred for him. No. I like him. Yeah, he's been good. I mean, as an administrator, he's good. But I say there are certain aspects of him that he needs to change. And nobody was challenging him. And some of us will come out and say the truth.
Apart from Asiedu Nketia and the crop of people who are up for election, let's start from the national chair.
No,
your preference.
I said that.
You've already said Hudu is your candidate.
No, you know it. I say today, currently, as we are here, I will never endorse or never campaign for anybody.
But you've done it publicly before.
Yeah, before.
So in the minds of
people,
those
who we hear.
Alotojo is for Hudu Yaya. It doesn't matter what you say now.
What I'm saying now is that, look, I don't want to hurt any candidate. I have done my projections. I have endorsed, and currently, whilst elections is about to take place, I will never hurt anybody. So I won't campaign for anybody.
Right, but in terms of competence and the person's ability to lead a party into 2020, because
all those contesting are competent in, contesting for those positions.
But for the political mathematics to work so well, sometimes you need some balances.
Yes, everybody.
To get things done right.
I don't believe
as an experienced politician.
I don't
what
believe.
Would be your recommendation?
You see,
in terms of the structure of the party.
I don't believe
into a presidential.
I don't believe in balances, because you are also trying to incorporate in those saying that there is the need for regional balances. I don't believe in those things.
Kind of politics
you see, here, NDC, when it comes to flag bearership, we are one way. Until President Mahama will hold somebody's hand and say that I'm done, so go for this man, everybody will go for him.
So is a done deal for John Mahama in December?
90% of the votes. Look, you see, if you don't support Mahama, then you are either a witch or a wizard.
But this is the same person who supervised your heaviest defeat in the history of elections in this country.
Heroes or commanders who fall rises up to win battles. So that is not the end of Mahama. It is rather the beginning of Mahama and the greater things for the NDC.
8 years and it's still beginning.
No, 4 years, not 8 years.
Vice president
and you see no. Look, when you are a vice president, you are not in charge. When you are vice president, you are not in charge. When you are president, you are in charge. And he was in charge for 4 years. The dynamics has changed. 4 years, he lost elections. We sincerely believe that he will win again the election 2020. That is the dynamics of the 4 years. We've moved from 8 years to 4 years. So Mahama is winning the 2020 elections hands down.
Based on what facts?
Oh, I mean, I don't need to tell you.
I don't know, tell me.
I hope the way Ghanaians are suffering, it will translate into 2019. That's where the battle begins.
But hasn't the issue of suffering been the normal course of politicians? It doesn't matter where you are. Once we are in opposition,
we are not saying it.
You think more for the Ghanaian than when you are in power.
The NDC is not saying it. It is the people who are telling the NDC that they are suffering. So fight for us. Look, when you go out and they know you as an NDC party member or a leader, they will say, Chale, bro, munkumaye. Then I tell them, but you people went also, then I tell them, look, in politics, I don't know. It's not part of political vocabulary. So when you say, oh, next time you learn lessons. But I tell you, the vote that we lost in 2016, we even have more in 2020.
What caused
Don't be surprised.
Okay, let me ask. Personally, because you're from the central region.
Yes.
You've lost so many seats.
Oh, it has happened before. It happened in 2004.
What caused that tsunami?
We lost almost 10 seats. And we came back winning 11 seats. And we've lost 12 seats. I can tell you on fact that come 2020, we may win about 17 seats.
You think that the MPP may do just one term?
Oh, it is one term. I'm telling you, the dynamics has changed. So if NDC has lost and Nana Akufo-Addo has won 2016, we're also coming to win 2020. Then it will be a draw. Then in 2024, we will see who will be coming with a new candidate? It won't be John Mahama.
Right.
Because when John Mahama wins the 2020,
he will do just 4 years.
Yes, it is there that will be crucial for the party to come out again with the likeness of John Mahama.
Isn't it the more reason why a candidate outside of the established one should emerge, so that the person, if elected, can go the full haul?
I've told you, we have a kind of a tradition, a kind of a psyche, that if it is President Rawlings, if it's John Atta Mills, it's John Atta Mills. Now, currently, it's John Mahama. And I'm saying that people will not go for anybody than John Mahama.
Your founder left moments after his speech. This is the biggest platform for the NDC, yet he will not sit through till the end.
No, he just gave us an advice.
Yeah, that you should listen more to yourself.
Yes, and it's all about...
What is your understanding of that advice?
Those we are going to vote into office, so we should be listening to ourselves. We shouldn't clamor that, oh, all things are easy and that will come 2020. No, we are going to work harder. That's why I'm expecting that after these elections, the new National Executive Committee members will incorporate all those who contested and put them on various committees so that we gather ourselves to make sure we win the 2020 elections. All right,
Mr. Alotoye, I'm going to let you go. Let me ask you your final question. Most definitely, like you yourself said, it is possible that Johnson Ezedin Ketia may emerge victorious in the General Secretaryship position. Once the dust is settled and the party is looking forward into 2020, what kind of expectation would you want to see from them as they go on?
No, Ezedin Ketia can deliver. And since we are going to have new faces at the National Functional Executive Committee, I'm sure he will be whipping line and we will all ensure victory for the NDC.
He's General Secretary. Do you expect a sudden turnaround as far as his character is concerned?
Well, I wouldn't say that because...
Or maybe you think that opposition may humble him.
No, he's been at that post. He's been at that post. And for the first time seeing Ezedin Ketia campaigning throughout the whole country, tells you there's a change. There's a change in that direction. And therefore, there's the need for him now to be part and parcel of the team that is going to be elected. So that there's no overlord. He will not overlord over anybody, but will incorporate himself with all the people that are going to be elected into office to ensure victory for us. And I'm sure this time there will be some vibrancy in the National Executive Committee and the party will be stronger. Because you see, I always keep on saying that when you have a strong party and even you have a weak candidate, you are bound to win elections. It is the party that makes one to be a president because it is the party that organizes, rallies, whatever, to ensure your victory.
But sometimes, Mr. Alotoye, usually when candidates are elected to lead a party and in the run-up to election, what you find is that sometimes the party machinery is not incorporated to the presidential candidate's own campaign team, and it creates problems sometimes.
That problem comes when the candidate is now a president, and that's what you saw at the MPP Congress, where you have a team that belongs to Nana Akufo-Addo, and you see, they are lucky they are in power, but then I'm sure what they have done is to match the crack, seal the crack, because all those who lost at the elections, they've been given deputy positions.
Right.
So that's what we're also going to do. So it's going to be a big face-off in 2020.
And already we have been told that you intend to organize dialogue and forums with identifiable groups with the aim of selling your message to them.
We're not going to reveal our strategy now. We are not going to reveal our strategy now. But we have the support of the people, the goodwill. You see, what is important when you're about to win elections, it is based on the goodwill of the people. Now, if the people come for you, look, when Mahama goes, wherever he goes, it is not only NDC people who goes meet him. The whole township meets Mahama.
He's the former president.
Yeah,
obviously, he attracts attention.
No. You see, it is like, we are giving you your stone. So it is the people, and that is the goodwill based on which Mahama will win the elections.
All right, Mr. Jacobs, thank you very much for speaking to us.
I'm most grateful.
And I wish you well in your campaign to get Koko Anyidahu elected General Secretary of the NDC.
Don't talk like that.
All right. So we're still here at the Trade Fair Center, and we have a lot more coming up here on the Joy News Channel Multitude, also on Joy 99.7 FM. My colleague, Roland Walker, is about taking over from me. Mama V is also in the studio. She's got a panel that's also up to discuss what we've been told so far. But there's been some amendments, like we heard from Mr. Aloto Jacobs. One of the proposed amendments that Congress just, resolved was the fact that in future elections, the former regional chair, regional secretary, and organizer will now have voting rights, which means that they will now be part of the voting process in the election in the future. Also, there's also a call for the selection of our party, organizers and all that. That has also been accepted, which means that it will no longer be a position that can be contested, but rather it will be a position that will be selected by the NDC. And those are some of the proposed amendments that have been adopted by Congress. Before I hand over to you, Mama V, so that you can also speak to the people you have in the studio, let me quickly get a word for Mr. Atubiga, who is also contesting the flag bearership of the party. I mean, you've declared your intention. You are the front runner.
Yes.
All right, good. So far, how is it going for you?
Thank you very much. I want to use the opportunity to really congratulate Free Ankara and the organizers of this Congress. They've done a very wonderful job looking at the position. Everybody is well seated. And then also want to thank Joy FM, has always been the support of democracy. And I want to use sincerely from the bottom of my heart, Kwesi Chum, I congratulate you. Your platform has really touched lives in terms of improving people's lives and keeping governments on their toes. But having said that, I think it's one of the things that we've realized today, that democracy really works. Looking at the amendment that the party wanted to adopt in terms of appointing the communication directors instead of being elected. And there was a protest, a mass protest, and democracy prevailed. It was the decision was rescinded, and it's been agreed that it should go through the ballot box. And we've also been announced that, unfortunately, as some of us are preparing the presidential to take victory on 7th December, it's been pushed backwards. It said there will be a date that will be set based on...
So the primary is no longer coming on in December?
No. There will be a date that will be set. I don't know whether it will be done today or another day will be chosen for them to give us another date. I mean, if you look at it, today is 17th. Right. We have not yet picked our documents to go around and get the endorsement throughout the whole country yet, and then bring it back and get go through the vetting. After the vetting, then go through the ballot box. So I think they took a decision in the interest of democracy, in the interest of the party. All
right, so we are hearing it here on the Joy News Channel on Joy 99.7. For the party's National Delegates Congress will elect a flag bearer originally scheduled for the December 7th will no longer take place. The party is to decide on the next date to hold the flag bearership race. That's what we've been told by, as part of the resolution adopted by Congress a few minutes ago. But Mr. Atubiga,
yes,
some few minutes ago,
yes,
I spoke to Aloto Jacobs, the former Central Regional Chairman of the party. And he was emphatic. John Mahama is going to win 90% of the votes.
Okay, I don't see that happening. I could tell Alote Jacob he shouldn't let the crowd scare him. Anybody could get this crowd. If Little Wayne goes out, he's got the crowd. Kwekupun Sam goes out, he'll get the crowd. Kum Chacha goes out, he'll get the crowd. And if Shatawale goes out and get the crowd, it doesn't mean that Stoneboy or Shamini's supporters are not on that platform. So that doesn't scare us. At the end of the day, it's the votes that count. He's a former president. He has my respect. He's done so much. And then he's been a vice president. And without no disrespect to my fellow colleagues, John Dramani Mahama stands taller than all of us. So he going out and getting the crowd, he deserves it. I mean, of course, if I was the sitting president that lost, people will want to come out and see me. People will want to come out and see why they didn't vote for me. People will come out to say, why didn't they give me the opportunity based on the economic hardship we're having today? The sitting government has not been able to live up to expectation. They are commissioning, I mean, they're going around commissioning project that John Dramani Mahama did, and he's the president that just lost the election.
Right.
Of course, getting the crowd is not an issue. It's not a problem. I'm not surprised it's getting that crowd.
But people say that in
Yes.
terms of marketability,
Yes.
John Mahama perhaps is the most marketable person in the NDC. Why should the delegates overlook a tried and tested person and settle on somebody who is so new in government, in yourself?
John Dramani Mahama is one of the best presidents this country has ever had. And without no fear, John Dramani Mahama's achievement is what any of we, the aspirants, when we get the opportunity to win, it's based on his achievement that we're going to use for victory. Even if he even goes, the man is alive. He has done so much for this country. He has done so much for the political party. He's done so much for this country. The bad leadership of Nanado's government has made John Dramani to be a living god and a legend today, and I give him thumbs. You know what I'm saying, right? The man has done so much project. We haven't been presidents before. We haven't done any, we've not, I mean, built any infrastructure. We've not been vice president before. We've not been sitting president before. And we've not been a sitting president that has lost an election before for people to come and see, because based on bad governance today, John Dramani Mahama is God. If you're comparing MPP and achievement and NDC achievement today, who will you be mentioning? You will not be mentioning Atubiga, Alabi, Sylvester Mensah, Ricketson, and the rest. It's John Dramani you'll be mentioning. He has done so much for this country.
So why would you support him to continue?
Politics is democracy. And it's a 4-year contract. When you are given the 4-year contract, at the end of the 4 years, you have to come back and go to the people and tell the people, I did A, H, Y, Z. You know, give me the opportunity. I'm going to do A, B, C, D. We will also say that we could do more than he's done. Okay? John Dramani Mahama has given the 3 northern regions a clean sheet to prove to this country that if a northerner is given the opportunity to lead this country, he can do much. He can do a lot. And that is why some of us have had the guts to also lead. If you ask Bawumia today, if he wants to lead MPP, he would tell the rank and file of MPP that my brother John Dramani Mahama, when he was given the opportunity to lead the country, he did so much, so give me the opportunity. So John Dramani Mahama's position of doing so much work, in Kusasi, we say if the ferry is right, give the truthful to the ferry for it to go back to the bush. In terms, the man has, that doesn't mean that Atubiga cannot do better than him.
Yeah, because that's
that
why
doesn't mean
you want to contest him.
Yes,
you want the delegates to reject him.
What I'm trying to explain is that there's no perfect president. There is no perfect leader. He was driving the car maybe to the right-hand side. I may drive it to the left-hand side. It's an internal election. I will not disrespect John Dramani Mahama because I want to lead. He has his flaws, but it's an internal election.
What are some of the flaws that you've identified?
Some of the flaws is the people that he chose to represent him, they let him down. He didn't crack the whip early at the right time. He did what he had to do. But people that he entrusted power from the DC, excuse my language, forgive me, with all the indulgence to your viewers and your cherished listeners. Forgive me, Ghana. Any stupid person can be a president. Any lunatic could be voted to be a president. There is no schooling for presidency. It is the people that you choose to represent you at various sectors, your chief executive, your ministers. They are the people that will help you deliver good governance. Immediately they fail you, you have failed. So if you are not able to draw the line between my DCE is messing up, my minister is not thinking outside the box, my ministers are being disrespectful, the party in power has distanced itself away of the leadership of the party. Remember, it is the party that gives birth to a government. When the government is in power and it doesn't take care of the party, then the party will definitely go for opposition. It's like your mother giving birth to you and you not taking care of your mother. And I believe that those were the little flaws. But in politics, we win together, we lose together. John Dramani's lost.
Are you talking about wholesale disappointment or just a select few?
His Excellency John Dramani wasn't a perfect president. But in terms of infrastructure-wise, pulling this country forward, doing what this country is supposed to doing what this country needs, how this country is supposed to be positioned in terms of logistics-wise, the health sector, the road sector, a lot of intervention projects and what have you. John Dramani did what he had to do, but Atubiga will do better than what he did. I will continue his projects. Don't forget that he will be one of my advisors when I get the opportunity. I will take his vision and add to mine. I'll move this country forward because I have a lot of vision that he doesn't have.
Okay.
I have a lot of speciality that all the aspirants don't have. None of them have built companies before. None of them have provided private employment before. And this country, a population of almost 29 million Ghanaians, and I'm talking about less than 1 million Ghanaians. I'm talking about from the military to police service to civil servants to whatever you. Less than 1 million, right? Let's say 10 million are kids. So 14 million are the workforce, including your outfit, the kaya, the truck drivers, the what. It means you have to run this country like a business entity. And if you run this country as a business entity, you will touch lives. Everybody's pocket will be okay. But if you run this country as a sole proprietorship, it will bring us hardship as we have in today. And if you give me the opportunity, I can do postmortem what I mean by running this country as a business entity.
Final question, do you have the resources to prosecute a campaign of this nature?
So far, I can say without fear, I have spent more money than all the aspirants.
How much are we talking about?
They are going around giving 10 cities and 20 cities to all the aspirants.
How much are you giving?
50 cities, 40 cities, 30 cities.
To each aspirant, to each delegate you've met?
That I'm going, yes.
50 Ghana?
Yes, 50 Ghana, 30 Ghana. They are giving 10 cities, 20 Ghana. I am spending more than them, I could say that.
But why will you give them money?
It is not about money. No. When you meet them, you have to buy them water. Remember, they travel from certain places. They come with transport. Some come with their cars. If you go to a village at Nangodi, if you go to Bogoso, if you go to Jasika, if you go to Abebresekrum, if you go to Wenchi, most of the people don't ride motorbike.
So you give them 50 cities.
20 cities. The water bottle fuel is 20 cities in the villages.
Right.
They buy that to come to you. As going back, you've not given them food to eat. Okay. It's only my fellow colleague aspirants that I'm surprised where they are getting their resources from. I'm a businessman. They are formal appointees. So let's say if I spend 2,000 in a constituency and they spend 30,000 to 50,000, to 5,000, I'm supposed to ask them where are they getting their resources from.
And you are telling me right now that
I'm giving an example.
The other colleagues, when they meet the delegate, they give them 10 and 20 cities.
No, I'm saying, they are giving 10 cities and 20 cities. I am giving 30
cities.
Who
are you talking about?
The record has been there from...
I don't know. I want to know.
All the aspirants you can think of.
10 Ghana cities.
All of them. 10 Ghana cities.
Including John Mahama.
All of them. That's how much they're giving. And I'm giving more than...
Including former President John Mahama.
Yes.
10 Ghana.
Yes.
And you are giving 50 Ghana.
Yes, 50 Ghana, 30 Ghana.
Then you are rich. You have a lot of money to spend.
There are people that believe in Atubiga. They are donating. I'm getting a lot of local and international support. People know that Atubiga never served in government. The little that he had, he's sharing. People are supporting. Every region I go, somebody picks up the bill of my hotel. Somebody pays for the feeding of my people. Somebody supports me if I'm going to the... People have confidence in Atubiga that I have made politics so attractive in this country. As you sit in today, your parents have confidence in you for you to be somebody, right? You don't have to be a minister or a formal ambassador and to be able to lead this country. So I represent the nobodies, and we are the majority. People think that this country, they need somebody who is nobody, who comes from a very poor home, who understands that what it takes not to have 3 square meals for your children, not to be able to take care of your wife, not to be able to have an average car. You can't even pay rent. And I represent the average Ghanaian, and that is why the Kayayis, the Agbogbloshie markets people, the Sushan people, the media houses people, I'm bringing hope with different dimension into the country, whereby for the fact that you've been made a minister before, you've been given a motorcade, you have free fuel, free gasoline, free driver, free everything, doesn't make you a presidential material. Wanting to lead a country is a different ball game together. It's a visionary person who knows when to crack the whip, who knows how to bring people, a tolerant president, and I represent the people's people.
So if former President John Mahama and the rest are giving 10 and we are giving 50, meaning you should win hands down.
I will defeat John Dramani Mahama. I'm going to make history in this country. I will defeat John Dramani. People should not look at the crowd. Like I keep telling you, the crowd is nothing. Kweku Bunsam would get crowd. Okay? Little Wayne will get crowd. Okay? The crowd is not a problem. People should look at who can change this country. And if John Dramani Mahama, and I've always told you, if the presidency was a smoke, I would take it every day and give it to John Dramani Mahama to continue. If the presidency was a shirt, I'll give it to him anytime because he deserves it, he's worked for it, but unfortunately it's democracy. And if John Dramani is able to defeat me, if John Dramani Mahama is able to defeat me, I will support him 100%. Any of the aspirants, I'll give them 100% support. And if he's able to beat me, he deserves it, my brother. Because it is under his leadership that I'll be able. And if you ask them, the deputy chief whip, who's coming? Competent. It's because most of them are scared of securing their positions. If not, most of them will come out and tell you, the formal members of parliament, most of the sitting members of parliament, they will tell you that Atubiga is the right person to lead this country now. But I would defend and support John Dramani with my logistics, with my strength. And
apart from giving him an advisory role, will you consider giving him a position that he could be more useful to the country?
John Dramani Mahama is a legend. If John Dramani Mahama is able to defeat me this election, I have 57 questions for John Dramani. Out of the 57 questions, 30 of them are advice, 27 of them is an advice. Okay. But to be honest, I want to use today to congratulate John Dramani Mahama. He has really rebranded himself positively. Okay. He has really showed that he has really rebranded himself, looking at the type of campaign team that he has chosen, looking at his demeanor, his language today. I can tell you, John Dramani Mahama has really changed.
Thank you.
He has changed. He has really rebranded himself. I've given him 98%, bro. Congratulations, even though I'm going to defeat you.
All right.
You have changed. You really rebranded yourself. You've proven that you are really hungry for power.
All right.
And let's see how things go. John Dramani Mahama's win is my win. His loss is my loss.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tuguba. And I wish you well. Yes. And hopefully next year, yes, when the bell is rung, yes, we will all be there to see how you will do in the National Delegates Congress.
Joy FM, Joy News. I have a special place for you at the Flagstaff House. You will be my CNN in running this country. I have a special place.
Thank you very much. We welcome it.
Presidency.
Thank you very much, Atuguba, and I wish you the very best. And that was one of the.
My chief of staff in waiting. That is my chief of staff in waiting. My chief of staff.
The man's already started giving the positions away.
Yeah, so that people will come on board. People will come on board for victory.
Thank you very much, and we are still here at the Trade Fair Center. It's our live coverage of the NDC National Delegates Congress. The second part's already underway. If you are hearing the loud voice or the loud noise you heard from the Congress grounds, it's as a result of the introduction of the candidates for the various positions. And very soon, we'll be taking you inside, because the Electoral Commission or the electoral wing of the NDC are about taking over the election itself. There's been some introductions. Some while ago, Johnson Essiedu Nketia was introduced to the delegates, and that's how it's going to be till we get to the final person, after which, region by region, they will vote for the preferred choices for the candidates. Now, let's get to speak to more people as we await the start of the election itself. Ahmed Ibrahim is a deputy minority whip in Parliament, a member of Parliament from Banda, right? Exactly. I still have my parliamentary nose, you know. All right. And it's warm. Yes, you're wearing what? A pullover. Why? I don't understand.
Okay, let me say a very good afternoon to your cherished viewers. We started this work yesterday very late in the night and been working throughout the evening. So we've not gotten even the opportunity to go home and even change and come.
I can tell that from your eyes.
Precisely, and that is how election is. No election is small. When you are going to a contest, even if it is with your own child, you have to prepare. So that is what we did yesterday, from yesterday in the evening till date, and that is what we are doing. By God being so good, so far so good.
Then from what you're telling me, that you couldn't make it to Parliament this morning?
I couldn't. Clearly, you know, there was no way we could make it, but your constituents who elected you are here. And unfortunately, they are doing the program in the national capital, and we didn't know Parliament could be sitting today. It came as an afterthought. So clearly, there was no excuse to be given to our people. But today was just to go to make up for the 21 sitting days for
the CI to mature.
So you didn't need all of us to be there. Some of us needed to be here as leadership of the party. Some of us needed to be here to be seeing how things are going to be managed. Because when we are in opposition, the parliamentary wing is the face of the party.
Right.
So there's no way your constituents will be coming here and you will not be here. Even we needed to be here to hold the fort for our other colleagues who are not here. And that is what we had been doing since yesterday in the evening till date.
And that puts a lot of financial stress on members of Parliament.
It's both. But to whom much is given, much is expected. If all the people are signing social contract with you, you get the biggest contract. So you cannot complain. Because in scripture, to whom much is given, much is expected. But normally, it is not the financial stress per se. The love. It is not everybody. Some are very rich, but they find it very difficult for people to even approach them.
I remember very well the the MPP Congress in Tamale that elected Afoko and Kwabene Japan. That Congress in Tamale, in the run-up to the Congress in Tamale, you know, the NPP was in opposition then. And I was a parliamentary reporter then, where I had an opportunity to speak to the leadership in Parliament for the minority at the time. And it was quite clear that funding for that particular Congress, much of the money was going to come from members of Parliament, per their contribution to the running of the party office and other issues. And the party, the MPs had budgeted their own money and they had made the funds available for the running of that Congress in Tamale. I don't know whether it is the same for the NDC as far as this Congress is concerned.
That's why I said the parliamentary wing is the face of the party in opposition. As for funding the Congress, we also have our part to play. But we cannot fund the entire political party Congress. But we have our role to play because we are product of the system. There's no way that they are going to organize a party Congress and the parliamentary will not contribute. All the other caucuses bring their contributions, and we also brought our contribution.
All right, so I'm sorry, you have your own preferred, you are voting, right?
Clearly I'm voting.
You have your own preferred candidate.
Precisely.
So what are the factors that you are looking forward to?
Oh, the factors is teamwork. If you go into a contest and after the contest you don't have a team spirit, there is no way you can capture power. But this election or this Congress is not a Congress to an end. It's a means to the general elections that we are going to have in 2020. So whoever is going to emerge as a victor on today's Congress should be somebody who have the spirit of teamwork in them,
right,
who will be able to work together as a team, just as we had it in 2008. And that is how we were able to capture power from the political party, that's MPP. So we are looking for a very formidable team. It is not just a one-man work. It is not a two-man work. We are not going to create also fashion. If you end up creating fashions, when somebody says something good, no matter how good it is, because of where it's coming from, the other fashion say no. We want to avoid all those things. So we are looking for people who will come together and be looking at emerging as victorious, but not just taking or going to